So yeah, we'll do it. So yes, what's your name and where are we?
So my name's
I should have done that.
Ask me a question and open it.
What's your name and where are we now?
Okay, so my name's Maisy Whipp. Currently we are at Cloudspotting Festival 2019 at Stephen Park. I learned that recently. It's Stephen, not Stevens. It's Stephen Park in Gisborne Forest. I think it's the 9th year of Cloudspotting, but this is the first one where they've done comedy, which is very exciting.
Fantastic. And how would you describe yourself?
I don't know, I always struggle with this one. I do a lot of BuzzFeed quizzes and I never know what to put when it says, oh, how would your friends describe you? I have to ask them because I don't know. They tend to put outgoing and like brave or creative and stuff, and I don't know, all of the above kind of. Like I don't see myself that way, but I just, like when I compare myself to others it would appear that way. Yeah.
And would you describe like brave, outgoing, etc., the words you just used, to describe yourself on stage or off stage?
I always think I look really nervous on stage. I've been told I don't a lot of the time, but I feel very nervous. When I do comedy, when I do musical theatre and stuff, which is what I usually do, what I did do, I think I'm quite brave and not like, usually the characters I play are very outgoing characters and really like strange characters, so it comes across that way, but obviously it's a bit more scripted and you're not relying on laughs, you're just relying on the audience looking your way, whereas in comedy if you're not getting laughs, you shit yourself. But I mean, not on stage, it depends who I'm with a lot of the time. If I'm with certain people I can be very outgoing and I can be very confident. With other people I'm a lot quieter, but yeah, I'm still fairly confident. In general as a person, I'm fairly confident, although I get very nervous about things, so it doesn't look like it on the outside. If someone's nervous around me, I'm confident. If no one's nervous, I'm nervous. Like I thrive off other people's nerves. I'm like, oh, everyone else is nervous, but it's going to be people. But they always say nerves mean you care, so yeah. So.
Okay, and so how do you feel like you become when you're surrounded by other comics who are typically quite kind of confident as an archetype?
I don't know, because everyone's got their own personas, haven't they? And if I'm with a comedian, like when I look at lineups, I'm like, if this person's next to me, I'm not going to do as well. So if someone who is quite bubbly and quite, because I don't think my stuff is very, like it's not satire, it's not dark in any point particularly, and it's not really self-deprecation either. It's just funny things about my life. So if I'm quite bubbly in what I do, I'm quite, not loud but confident in my delivery when I know the jokes. So I wouldn't say, so if I'm next to someone else who's quite loud and bubbly and stuff, it can either make my performance a lot better or it can make it a lot worse. So if they bring me on and they've been nice and got the audience on side, they can quite like me. But if I don't bring that exact same amount of energy, then it just plateaus instantly and they don't like me.
So, so you mentioned like energy. How important do you think energy is to comic performance?
I mean, to me specifically, very important. If I'm not giving it all my energy, it always falls dead. To other performers, I think energy manifests in different ways in them. So I could see like a really straight-laced comedian doing like a really like just talking to the mic quite monotone, but it's still working. But that energy is still there in keeping that up, because if they break for a moment, that set's fairly ruined for them. But if I break being bubbly and happy, if the audience catches on that I'm nervous, I'm then thinking, oh, they think I'm nervous, and it just goes to shit. But it does, I think energy is very important in a comedian, which I think is why a lot of comedians drink before they perform, is because they get that burst of confidence from it. I don't drink anymore, I don't drink at all really, and I thought it would affect my performance, and to be honest, it hasn't. I think a lot of comedians rely on it, and I'm learning that you don't need to, and it's just finding other ways of doing that, and it really is just based on your mentality towards it, to be honest.
So you mentioned that every comic has a persona. What would you say your persona is?
I think it's an exaggerated version of myself. A lot of the stuff I say, I wouldn't say on stage. I wouldn't say to the person.
Right, just keep going.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
What are you going on to?
Where's the stage?
No, after here.
We're going to go
It's
on
fine.
to Manchester.
A lot of the stuff I say
It's a long story.
a lot of stuff I say on stage, I wouldn't say that much to someone. I would say that in a rant to a friend, a close friend, but I would never say it to the person it's about in that way. So that's why I think it's an exaggerated version of myself. I have those feelings all the time, but there's only certain people I express them to. And by making it anonymous and funny and exaggerated even more, I can say it on stage. I think it is just a bigger version of myself.
So do you think that there is a crossover between your on-stage and your off-stage persona?
Yeah, no, not for a lot of people. A lot of people don't see it. There is definitely a crossover.
And do you think that that's a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's a good thing. I like it when you can see the honesty in an act. And I think a lot of stand-up has been completely ruined for me since I started doing stand-up. I'm waiting for the delivery now, and the joke and the punchline, how they're going to deliver it. I'm not actually waiting for the comedy anymore, which I think is kind of annoying. It takes an amazing comedian for me to actually sit and laugh and not be waiting for the what's next, because I've got to build my own. You know what I mean? Yeah. No, I think there is. There's a good crossover for certain people.
So you mentioned that you went from performing arts to comedy.
Yeah, suggested you get out.
Cool, we're ready to go out.
So they're coming now.
I
Sorry, just keep going.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think even when I was doing performing arts, when I was doing musical theatre, just not as much, I always played the comedy characters. Never really on purpose until I started looking at it and thinking, oh, why? Yeah. It's always just been something that's happened anyway. Like in the Adams Family, I played grandma, and I was just 102 years old, and I'm not 102, but I brought the comedy to it. Various other things, I've just always manifested. It just happens, and it's a big family thing as well. Like comedy's how we go through a lot of things. My dad's in his own way. So yeah, no, it's always been. This is just bringing it to the surface a bit more.
So what do you think the difference between musical theatre performance and solo comic performance is in terms of what you have to go through as a performer?
It kind of depends on what role you are in musical theatre. If you are, but then again, whatever you play in musical theatre, you're part of a team, and you have to rely on everything for it to go right. Everyone has to work together for it to be amazing. Whereas if you're doing comedy, if you're 5 minutes bomb, they forget about you. If you are doing a 2-hour musical and you're bad for the whole thing, you're picked on, letting people know. If you do a 5-minute spot in a 2-hour show, you're forgotten about. And there's a big difference there. And it's like I said, obviously whenever you do stand-up, you're online and you're with other comedians. But these comedians could be from all different walks of life. Could be from, they could be 10 years into stand-up, whereas you're like a year in or whatever. Whereas with musical theatre, a lot of stuff I've done is amateur, so everyone's on the same page, and I don't know, if they're getting nervous, I'm thriving off it. Whereas if people, 10 years into it, yeah, I don't know, it's a weird one.
And so something must make you continue to pursue solo comic performance rather than musical theatre. What is it that's made you pursue that?
I mean, for one, solo stand-up is good practice. Building my confidence on stage, getting me a bit better at improv, reacting to audiences. Stage time is a big one. Sorry. I'm not getting a lot of stage time apart from doing stand-up, which is something I thrive off it. But it's also been the most effective way of making connections, getting in touch with people. I've had so many opportunities come from meeting people on the stand-up circuit, and that is why I continue to do it, because I think it's the best way for me to connect with people. Oh God. Like, I don't see it as a career in stand-up, I see it as part of my career.
And what is that career?
Just being in the comedy industry, like in the performance industry in general, but with a big banner over comedy. Like, I love performing, but I love making people laugh even more. And if I could do that through through sitcom or through Hollywood movies, that would be the goal. But for now, I'm doing it every chance I get.
And what is it about? What is it that is making you want that comedy banner over your head rather than, say, serious drama?
As I said, I put my hand to serious stuff recently, which is something I've not done. Well, really ever, to be honest. And it was good. It was rewarding, but it was nowhere near as big as the thrill of getting some people laughing. Getting a whole room laughing is nothing compared to pulling off a good performance and getting clap at the end. It's constant as laughter. You can read it. You can read the room. But at the same time, if you do the same play 10 nights in a row, you know it's been going well. You could do a gig 5 minutes, do amazing, smash it, everybody love you, and that felt good. Then you do another 3 gigs and they're all shocking, and you want to quit comedy, and it's that easy, and like you can't even. It's a weird one.
So how does that thrill manifest itself for you?
I think you just, as soon as you come off stage, you're buzzing, and it's great.
And do you know when you're in that? Do you know when you're leading up to it, or do you want to know when you're actually there?
I mean, I think it's dangerous to think that you're going to have an amazing gig, because if you don't, then it's even worse. So it really has to be dependent on your audience reaction on stage whilst it's going on. I mean, I've had some gigs where I just couldn't tell, and it's a lot of time I think I block out the audience sometimes when I'm just going through my set. And afterwards I'm like, oh, that was awful. And then people are like, no, it wasn't. And I'm like, oh, I just didn't hear them. And it's like, you just didn't hear them. Like, everyone was smiling, everyone was laughing. And it's a hard one to read. It really is.
So when you also mentioned like big dips, like that just to make you want to quit doing comic performance. So do you think that for a comic performer they've got to accept the highs and the lows, or do you think it's possible to just have the highs, or do you think that the lows are quite healthy? Like, what's your opinion on the highs and the lows?
I don't think the lows are healthy, because I've never felt good for a while after a bad gig. But I think they are necessary, because you can't think that every audience member is going to love you at everything you do. Because even the greats were disliked by some. Like, you can't not expect them. Because even massive bands have bad gigs, and like massive comedians have bad gigs. Like, you can't even. People that go into it expecting every single one to be amazing are delusional. It's just not going to happen. Because you could have your 5 first gigs could be amazing, and they could be an absolute fluke. You could go on to another gig, do it with someone else who's even better, and you think, oh, actually, you know, that was awful. Yeah, I think my motto now, not my motto, but my thing now is I can't go to a gig expecting it to be amazing, and I can't berate myself if it's bad because I know I've had good gigs. You've got to remember you've had good gigs. This is just a one-time thing. It's not necessarily a massive reflection on you, but it's very hard. It's understandably very hard to remember the good gigs when you've had such a bad gig.
Okay, so what do you personally want to get out of comic performance?
I just want to make people laugh, people happy. That's what I've always said that. I don't care what I'm doing performance-wise, as long as I'm making people happy. And as long as I'm fulfilled in doing it, then that's all I care about, it really is.
So does that mean that you could potentially get the same thing out of, say, doing poetry or monologues, for example?
I think because I don't excel at those things, probably not. If I suddenly had the ability to write amazing poems and they were making people smile and everyone was loving them, then yeah, I probably could get the same feel out of it. I'm happy doing musical theatre or doing stand-up, but when I do musical theatre, everything I do within it is comedy. So, yeah.
And what do you think it is about you that makes you want to make a group of people that you've never met happy?
I don't know. I think it's just something I've always done. I've always been a performer, whether it's just to like my family or friends or just in general. But I think it's something I've always seen around me as well. Like my dad has always made people happy. Like, he's going around at the minute with a high vis on that says free hugs, and it's just something he does. He's just that kind of person. Just to be. I mean, there's so much negativity and shit in the world at the minute. I've always just, like, I hate reading the news, I hate watching the news, completely. I just try and avoid it, which isn't how you should be about the news. You know, I just want to be positive in a world of negativity.
And do you think that mindset could be, because you said that you get it and your dad gets it, do you think that could be like a nature thing, or do you think like a genetic thing, or do you think that's something that's been nurtured in you at some point?
I think it has, yeah. Like my family is just generally very positive people. I mean, at times we've had to be or else, you know, it'd be awful. But one of the biggest things my dad always says, I mean, a couple of things, always says, his biggest advice is don't be a dick, which is something I always follow. Like, I instill that into everyone I meet. I'm like, just don't be a dick. Like, you know, it's not the industry for it. It's not the world for it, you know. But he's always positive mental attitude as well. It's a massive thing he always pushes. And I think definitely it's something, it's learned behaviour very much, but it's also something I've furthered in life because I just believe it. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So I think this is probably the final question. So what is it that you, moving forward, want to get out of comic performance as a sense of accomplishment?
I want to be able to live off it. I think that's the main thing, is I want to be doing it constantly and have it be that I don't have to do something just to make some money, just to live, just to pay my rent this one time. I want to be, doing it on a massive scale, like doing it, making as many people happy as possible would be the goal. I think, I don't know, it's just to be able to live off it is the main thing.
And do you think that would change your relationship with it if it goes from something that's not got that financial stress on it currently versus when it becomes a job, in inverted commas?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. There's the issue of it becoming something that pays the bills or something I love that pays for a little bit. And I'd hate to ruin it by making it something I have to do. But it's a really hard equilibrium to get, really, isn't it? It's
So if someone was to say to you, you can have it as your job, but it will affect how much you enjoy doing it. I mean, obviously that's a very open question, like, as in an open statement. Is that something you're willing to give up in order to achieve that goal?
In all honesty, I'd probably just move on to the next thing. I think, in general, that's what I tend to do. When I initially tried to get into uni for musical theatre and stuff, it kind of roadblocked and I didn't get in anywhere, and I thought that was it then. And then I found comedy and it was enjoyable again and something I could do at uni. Sorry. Really bad tickle in my throat. Yeah, I probably would just move on to something else. If it became a chore, I don't tend to stick around long on it. If I'm not getting any gain off it at all, like financially, I've never done something just to make money, really. There's always been some sort of passion behind it. And if money's come with it, it's helped the passion, but it's not been the main goal. I've never done something I hate doing for money. So, yeah, I probably wouldn't. But then again, it's something I'm good at, and it's something I can't see myself losing passion for. But imagine if I had to do it, and I had to do things that were demoralising or something. Like I had to do gigs that I was getting paid a lot for, but I'd hate it. Don't really want to do that. I don't know. I've never been in that situation where I'd have to decide like that, so I couldn't tell you. But if it came, maybe.
Cool.
Nice.
Good, thank you.